What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. In this one, I'm going to be giving you one tip for feeling a lot better in your life. Now, this is going to be a very direct approach to a lot of psychological suffering. It's not really going to be about going for a run when you wake up or working out and exercising to feel good. Although all that stuff is fantastic, and I do a lot of that stuff. It's amazing. This is going to cut right to what the root cause of a lot of suffering actually is. And it boils down to fear. But I'm going to expand upon that. Fear in the form of avoiding and resisting reality. And in this video, I'm going to be specifically focusing on avoidance. Now, what happens most of the time when you feel some kind of uncomfortable emotion, like you're sad? What do you do? And I want you to be very honest in this video with yourself about what it is you actually do when something uncomfortable is happening. And I want you to notice there's an instinct to run away from what is happening. So we feel sad, and then we want to distract ourselves with food or entertainment or anything at all to make this feeling go away. And what I'm saying is that attempt to make it go away is what is actually creating suffering. And I want to make a distinction between being sad and suffering, or grief and suffering. And there's a massive experiential difference between simply just being sad and then just being sad and resisting it and trying to manipulate it and push it away and play tug of war with the actual feeling. And not just that, but even the move away, the impulse, that instinct to move away from what is presently occurring. This does not actually get rid of what is actually occurring. This just temporarily bypasses it, and that emotion doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't leave and go for a walk and never come back. It actually stays inside of you. The actual root cause of that emotion is there inside of you. It doesn't matter what you actually do in the external world. It doesn't matter that if you're sad, I'll use a different example now. If you're lonely and you go out and then you fill up your life with a lot of people. Although that's great, I'm not saying you can't do that. I am saying, however, that the fundamental solution to loneliness is not getting more people in your life, but is actually investigating what loneliness is, where it came from, what parts of you are lonely and why, and actually uprooting it at an instinctual level. For example, fear of being alone is massive within human beings because when we were very young, although it might not have been a very conceptual insight, we intuited that our chance of survival increased if we stayed in groups. So you were probably an infant who began to identify not only as just yourself, but with your entire family. Your entire family started to feel like you. And that was because you had an intuition that by including these people into your sense of who you are, into the sense of my family, your chances of surviving increased. And that being alone meant that your chances of surviving decreased, which resulted in a fear of being alone and a sense of loneliness. And these emotions, like loneliness or fear or anger, when they arise, when we are a kid, we have no idea how to handle them. First of all, no one's really taught properly how to do so. And not just that, we are, in a sense, too immature and just not wise enough to understand how to actually go about relating to this emotion. So what we do as young children is suppress it, repress it, move away from it, scream, cry, and basically just reject what is happening. And that conditioning of rejecting and running away out of fear, it's an overwhelming experience and we get scared and we want to move away, that doesn't go anywhere until it is directly looked at over and over and over and over and over again. And the emotions that came with it don't actually go anywhere until they are looked at over and over and over and over again. So this is not one of those videos that says if you wake up and you have a cold shower and a glass of water and go for a run, you're going to be happy. That's fantastic. I've done that a lot of times. I love it. But this video is about cutting to the actual root of a lot of unhappiness. And it comes from poor emotional habits and avoiding reality. And all of this is done out of fear. The foundation of our psyche is literally fear. When we're young, we are born into a very mysterious world. We don't know what's really happening. We're kind of, in a sense, forced to fit into social systems in order to survive, like family, school, tribes, countries, religions, ethnic groups, etc. We're forced to basically not care about our genuine authenticity and instead fit into some kind of group in order to survive out of fear. In order to get our needs met as children, we screamed and cried out of fear of not getting them met and wanting to move away from this unpleasantness. In this sort of, conception of the world from a child's eyes, it's very dangerous, very mysterious, very scary, very unknown, terrifying, and it's ran by a bunch of godlike, all-powerful adults who can do whatever they want. I want you to actually remember how scary adults were when you were very young, and how anyone who was significantly bigger than you was actually very scary. In many cases, you were deeply terrified as a young child, and that fear hasn't went anywhere. It's actually snowballed into this sort of chronic avoidance of reality and what is real, which is this moment right here. Just this. So my tip for feeling great is to not avoid emotions when they arise and to actually dive directly into the experience. And I have a lot of videos on this, and I'm going to have another one coming up soon, just about how to examine emotions. But really, what you have to do is you have to be very honest with yourself. You have to be very honest with what you're feeling, why that's the case, and really continuously question it using thoughts, question it, why that is the case and what it's doing, what it's protecting you against, and then have the ability to move completely out of thought, out of your head, and into direct experience, direct physical sensation, and allow any emotional habit to come out, because it is stored inside of you. It doesn't go anywhere. You actually have an unconscious warehouse inside of you of just emotional crap. And that is not a very nice thought to accept about yourself. You want to accept thoughts about how you're loving and intelligent, and not ones that say you have a warehouse of internal repressed emotions. That one is not exactly an easy thought to swallow, but it is nonetheless the case. And without properly investigating this, genuine enjoyment of life is not very possible, because it doesn't matter what you do in the external world, whether it's make money or have a beautiful wife or a funny, intelligent husband, although this is all fantastic, or go scuba diving and do extreme sports or whatever, go to join the NBA, whatever. All this stuff is fantastic. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing any of that, but none of this can possibly make you as happy as you can possibly be if you're walking around all day with a warehouse of emotional crap that you are too scared to look through, because this habit of being scared and moving away from uncomfortable feelings, it happened. It started happening from when you were a child. You never investigated it, and it's a habit. It's a conditioning with a lot of momentum behind it. And you can rewire that by, whenever something tough arises and you want to move away from it, you can actually move closer to it. Get out of thoughts into direct experience and just be curious. Through curiosity and compassion, you can actually start to cut off these emotions. Not cut off as in like push them away, but you can get to the roots of them and sort of uproot them just by becoming aware of thoughts that create the emotional states, because a lot of those are just beliefs, being aware of the emotion, and then most importantly for this is the avoidance, or that instinct to run away from the emotion. So you have to notice your avoidance to reality, because why are you avoiding reality? What emotion is driving that? And it's fear. There's something there you don't want to look at, and at some level you're anxious, you're scared, you're uncomfortable, so you move away out of a sense of danger, a sense of this is overwhelming. So this is the one huge tip for feeling great. If I'm going to sum it up right now, it's stop moving away from a difficult emotion. You would be very surprised to see how little the objective circumstance actually has to do with your happiness. That if you have a lot of your basic needs met, food, shelter, some basic sense of belonging, family, you have a lot of this basic stuff met. If you're like the average person, for the most part, you can be very happy. But we just have so many emotional and instinctual and cognitive blocks in the way from experiencing life in a genuinely joyful way. And these habits, they feel like us. So not only is it just a habit, but it feels like who we are, that these beliefs are me and they're mine, and they're my thoughts and they're my emotions and they're my instincts, but they can all be changed. It's actually not who and what you are. This conditioning kind of takes on a life of its own and perpetuates itself. This avoidance, this fear, this running away. And every time you do that, the problem only actually just gets worse. Because every time you run away, it was an opportunity to move towards it, and you could have rewired that instinct to run away. And if anything, you've just added more emotional crap on top of it, and you've given it more momentum. Although, if you're genuine about this, you can do a lot of work very quick and feel significantly better in your life for basically no real reason. And I use that sentence rather loosely, no real reason, because it doesn't seem like anything is happening. Like you're not getting stuff, you're not receiving stuff, you're not doing much, but you're filled with joy, a natural joy for just being alive. And this is possible for every human being, actually, when they have a lot of their survival needs met. So I'm not talking about someone in a third world country who doesn't even have food or water. Yeah, that person needs food or water. But these potentials, the potential to self-actualize, actually is in that person. But they have a list of needs that they have to get met and a list of sort of developmental stages to go through in order to get to really what I'm talking about. But I live in Canada, personally, and this is a very, very good country, very high quality country to live in, very safe, and very, in a sense, it's easy to get a lot of your needs met. And the sort of people I see walking around, not that I'm judgmental, none of that, but it's that we simply don't know that there's actually stages of human development where genuine joy and fulfillment is found, and not in simply getting more for yourself, getting more love and more belongingness and more friends and more esteem and more experiences, more stimulation. We're deeply overstimulated and just distracted from the actual roots of our emotional dysfunction, and better yet, we don't even recognize that there are roots to our emotional dysfunction. We take that and we place it out onto the world. We say, it's this group that's so stupid, which is why I'm so angry, and it's this person who did this and they shouldn't do that, which is why I'm so sad or angry or whatever. So we take a lot of our emotional dysfunction, completely distract ourselves from it to the point where we don't even know it exists, and then on top of that, we project it outwards and place it on other people. When what I'm saying in this video is, let's scrap that and let's notice how we are avoiding our own bullshit and how we're dishonest about it too. We say we're not, I'm fine, I'm happy the way I am. Cool. If that's the case, then cool. I guess there's no real getting through to someone who just has that belief. But when you really and authentically and just truthfully investigate your moment-to-moment experience, unless you've done a lot of work, you can find a lot of habits that you do out of anxiety, like a sort of, I don't know, twisting your body, tensing your body, picking at your nails, biting your nails. There's a lot of little things that you do out of a subtle sense of anxiety. Like your body just being chronically tense all the time. When you walk down the street, there's tension. Feels like there's a lack of safety. These are all habits that started in childhood and have perpetuated themselves over years and years and years until it has just felt like the way life is, the way we are, who and what we are. This is just it. Welcome to life. Welcome to the real world. But it's actually not. It's actually just a load of dysfunction. Mankind has an extremely profound potential. As human beings, we can do magnificent things that no one on this planet can even possibly think of right now. Maybe only a few. Unfortunately, the man who coined the term self-actualization, his name's Abraham Maslow, estimated that only 1% of people are self-actualized. That's 1% of people that is self-actualized, that has went to that level. That was a long time ago. Now it's probably about 5 to 7. Still, that's a very underwhelming number. Or is it overwhelming? I can't think properly right now with that sentence. But really, in a sense, it's overwhelming in the sense that there's so many people who simply don't know that this exists. They don't know self-actualization exists. It's an overwhelming amount of people who don't know that it exists. And they don't understand how this has practical benefits in their life. It's a real shame. That's it for this video. My channel's all about self-actualization and improving the quality of our mind, our emotions, our instincts, and our consciousness. my channel is going to be taking you significantly beyond the status quo of whatever culture that you're in, if you stick with me long enough. But that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Other than that, have a great rest of your day or a good night.